All right, so picture this. You're all about that study abroad life, right?
Yeah, who isn't?
Exactly. You're thinking about those awesome campuses in brand new countries, soaking it all in.
New experiences, new people.
Totally. But then, bam, immigration policies hit you.
Like a brick wall sometimes.
No kidding. Makes that daydream feel less like a fun adventure, more like, I don't know.
A bureaucratic maze.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like, where do you even start?
Right, and it's constantly changing, too.
Exactly. Which
Mhm.
is why we're doing this deep dive. We're arming you with the info you need to make smart choices.
Even with all the immigration stuff shifting around, yeah.
You got it. So we're breaking it all down. Visa rules, work opportunities, you name it. And we're hitting up the hottest study abroad spots. Australia, UK, Canada, US, the whole shebang.
It's a lot to unpack, for sure.
It is. But knowledge is power, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's kick things off with Australia, the land down under. It's been a top pick for international students forever.
For good reason.
Right. But they've made some changes recently, especially with that graduate work visa. You know, the one that lets you work there after you graduate.
Right, subclass 485.
That's the one. So it used to be pretty straightforward. Graduate, get up to 18 months of work experience, no problem.
Yeah, but now they're making things tougher.
Tell me about it.
Especially for certain fields. If you're thinking tech or vocational programs, it's way more strict now.
And that's a big deal. Think about it. You spend years, you invest so much, you get your degree, and then surprise, you might not even be able to work there.
Exactly. It's a major source of anxiety for students right now.
I bet. In fact, like 40% of students thinking about Australia are now hesitant, all because of this visa uncertainty.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big decision to make. It makes sense that people are feeling uncertain.
Absolutely.
But look, even with these changes, Australia is still a fantastic place for international students. They've got so much to offer, the quality of life is amazing, and they do still value what international students bring.
That's good to hear.
But here's the key takeaway. Research, research, research. Don't just fall in love with a program and assume everything will magically work out. You really got to dig into those visa requirements before you commit.
So true. Especially if getting that post-study work experience is part of your plan.
Exactly. Make sure it's even an option for you before you go all in.
Solid advice. All right, let's hop across the globe now to the UK. They've been making some waves lately with their whole approach to international students.
Trying to be the nice guys, huh?
A little bit. They brought back that graduate route thing, which is pretty huge.
2 years to work or a job hunt after you graduate, not bad.
Not bad at all. Seems like they're rolling out the red carpet, wouldn't you say?
In a way, yeah. I think they're feeling the pressure to attract global talent, you know?
Makes sense.
So they're hoping this whole post-study work flexibility will give them an edge. And you know what? It seems like it's working.
Really?
Students are definitely noticing. I saw somewhere that like 57% of international students are more into the UK now because of this opportunity.
Wow. 2 years to launch your career in a place like the UK? That's pretty tempting.
Hard to argue with that, right?
It is. But let's be real for a sec.
Uh-oh, here it comes.
The UK isn't exactly known for being easy on the wallet.
True.
I mean, those living expenses and tuition, it can add up so fast.
No sugarcoating that, unfortunately.
So it's a real trade-off, isn't it? You get those awesome work opportunities after you graduate, but you got to be able to afford to, live there in the first place.
Exactly. It's a balancing act for sure. The UK is basically hoping that those long-term job prospects outweigh those short-term costs.
It's a gamble.
Kinda, yeah. So you got to ask yourself, can I actually swing it financially, even with the potential job opportunities later on?
Big questions. It's about finding that balance, right? Your dream destination versus, well, reality.
Exactly.
Speaking of which, let's talk about a country that's been getting a lot of buzz lately, Canada. They're like the rising star of the international student world.
They're killing it right now.
Right. And a big part of that is their post-graduation work permit, the PGWP.
It's a pretty sweet deal, yeah.
Seriously. It's like they're handing out golden tickets to work there after you graduate.
It is a pretty sweet deal.
Sweet doesn't even cut it. We're talking up to 3 years of work in Canada after you finish your studies.
Think about it, 3 years. Compared to the UK's 2 or Australia with their, whole situation.
Yeah, Australia's got some work to do to catch up. It's no wonder everyone's heading north.
Canada's the place to be, apparently.
It seems like it. I read somewhere that applications to Canadian universities have gone up by like 15%.
Seriously.
Yeah. It's like everyone just woke up and realized Canada's got it going on.
They've always had their perks, but now it's like everyone else is catching on.
And that PGWP isn't the only reason either, right? Canada's got that reputation.
Oh, for sure. They're known for being super welcoming.
And multicultural, which is huge for students who, might not be thrilled about the vibe in other countries.
Yeah, it's a big deal. People want to feel safe and accepted,
Yeah.
you know?
Absolutely. So it sounds like Canada's checking all the boxes, right? I mean, it can't be all...
Maple syrup and sunshine.
Exactly. There's got to be a catch somewhere, right?
Well, like with anything, it's not always that straightforward.
What do you mean?
Well, those first few years after graduation, they're golden, no doubt.
Thanks to the PGWP.
Exactly. But if you're thinking long-term, like settling down permanently,
Okay.
that's where things get a little trickier, those residency rules. Whole different ballgame.
So it's not just a free-for-all once you're in with the PGWP.
Not exactly. Don't get me wrong, it's still a fantastic opportunity, but you got to go in with your eyes open.
So lesson learned, don't assume those post-graduation work opportunities automatically equal a one-way ticket to citizenship.
Exactly. Research is key no matter where you're thinking of going.
Solid advice. Okay, so we've talked about Australia, the UK, Canada.
The land of opportunity.
Right. But we can't forget about the big one, the United States.
The US of A.
It's been the top choice for international students for, ever. But lately, well, it's been a little...
Unpredictable,
That's one way to put it.
to say the least.
Right. It's tough because the U.S. has so much to offer, but...
That uncertainty is a deal breaker for a lot of people.
Totally. Imagine trying to plan your future when the rules keep changing.
It's like trying to hit a moving target. You never know what's going to happen.
And that makes it super hard for students to commit,
Oh, for sure. It's a huge decision. And you want to feel confident in your choice.
Exactly. No one wants to feel like they're, gambling with their future.
Especially when it comes to something as important as education and, your career.
Absolutely. So with the U.S., it's been a bit of a roller coaster ride lately for international students.
To say the least.
Right. I mean, they have programs like optional practical training, OPT.
Which, on the surface, sounds amazing.
Right. You get to work in the U.S. after you graduate. Who wouldn't want that?
Exactly. 12 months, or even 36 months if you're in a STEM field.
That's a pretty sweet deal.
But there's always a...
There is. What's the catch this time?
Well, as amazing as OPT sounds,
Yeah, it does sound amazing.
it's incredibly vulnerable to those policy changes we were talking about.
You mean what's in place today could be gone tomorrow?
Exactly. And that's a terrifying thought for students who are, putting their heart and soul, not to mention their life savings, into this.
Totally. It's like 1 minute you're planning your dream career in the U.S. and the next minute...
The rug's pulled out from under you.
And you're left scrambling to figure out what to do next.
Exactly. And that uncertainty is making a lot of students think twice about the U.S.
Can you blame them?
Not at all. When you're making a decision as big as studying abroad, you want some stability.
Right. You want to know that your investment is secure.
Exactly. And with the U.S. right now, that's just not guaranteed.
And that's why we're seeing more and more students looking at other options.
Like Canada with their PGWP.
Makes you wonder if the U.S. will try to step up their game to stay competitive.
Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure.
What's that?
This whole landscape of international education, it's changing rapidly.
And students need to stay informed.
Couldn't agree more.
It's a lot for students to navigate, that's for sure.
No kidding. It's more than just picking a program these days. It's about understanding the whole picture.
Right. You've got your education, your career goals, and then this whole immigration puzzle on top of it all.
Exactly. It's like a whole extra layer of complexity.
So how are students supposed to make sense of it all? Where do they even start?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, it comes down to your personal why. Why study abroad in the first place?
What are you hoping to get out of the experience?
Exactly. Are you all about that world-class education, even if it means, facing some hurdles afterwards?
Or are you more focused on, the cultural immersion, experiencing a new way of life, even if it's just for a little while?
It's all about priorities, right? Some people are dead set on building a life in a new country no matter what.
While others are more open to, seeing where the wind takes them.
And that's okay. There's no right or wrong answer here. It's about figuring out what matters most to you.
And then, I guess, choosing your adventure based on that.
Exactly. So here's a little food for thought as you're weighing your options.
Hit me with it.
Would you rather study in a country that has your absolute dream program, like the one you've been picturing since forever, but with super strict work policies after you graduate?
Ooh, that's a tough one. You achieve your academic dreams, but then...
You're stuck.
Basically, you might not even be able to stay and work in the field you just studied.
It's a real dilemma, for sure. Do you prioritize the perfect program or the perfect launch pad for your future?
Ooh, I
Uh,
like that. The perfect program versus the perfect launch pad.
yeah.
Okay, so what's the flip side?
So on the other hand, would you be open to a country with an amazing program? Maybe not your absolute top choice, but still up there if it meant having way more options after you graduate.
Like a clearer path to working there, maybe even a shot at residency down the line?
Exactly. So it's like, do you follow your heart to the dream program knowing it might be a battle afterward?
Or do you play it a little safer, choose a country that's more welcoming to your, long-term goals?
Tough choices.
No kidding. And I bet there's no easy answer either.
Not really. It all comes down to your values, your goals, your risk tolerance, all that good stuff.
So it's about finding that sweet spot, right? Where what you're passionate about aligns with like the practical realities of life.
Exactly. And that sweet spot is different for everyone. But here's the thing. Information is your best friend throughout all of this.
Couldn't agree more. Do your research, guys.
Seriously. Don't be afraid to dig deep, ask questions, talk to other students, advisors, even immigration lawyers if you have to.
The more you know, the better equipped you'll be to handle whatever curveballs come your way.
Exactly. Because this whole landscape is constantly evolving. What's true today might be totally different tomorrow.
Truer words have never been spoken. Well, there you have it, everyone. Our deep dive into the wild world of immigration policies and what they mean for your study abroad dreams.
We covered a lot of ground today.
We did. Australia, UK, Canada, US, each with their own unique vibe, and let's be honest, their own set of challenges.
But that's part of the adventure, right?
Exactly. So as you're out there exploring your options, just remember, stay curious, stay informed, and most importantly,
Don't give up on your dreams.
yes, don't let a little thing like ever-changing immigration policies hold you back.
There's a whole world out there waiting to be explored.
And we're here to help you navigate it every step of the way. That's all the time we have for today's deep dive. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Until next time.
Happy exploring.